Welcome to the Sideload, where we're streaming wirelessly over all 7 of the Nest mini speakers Google gave you for free in 2019. I'm your host, Will Sattelberg. This week, I'm joined by Commerce Director Daniel Bader and my former podcast co-host on the Android Please podcast. We're talking all about speakers, audio, smart and not, ahead of Google's Gemini-themed smart home event set for later this week. But if you've ever heard Daniel and I on a podcast together, you probably know that we're not going to stick on topic. We are going to talk about whatever comes to our minds. So Daniel, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you.
Good to have you on.
It's nice to be on the other side of the show for a change.
Of an intro, yeah.
And the show in general, because as you know, I did all the show notes when you were my co-host. I never had you do any of them.
Yes, Daniel did all the work. I would show up 20 minutes late. I would roll in and I would say, "Did you get the show notes done?" And you'd say, "Yes, sir." Thank you, sir. And then we'd record. And honestly, half the time I was just AI anyway. I know we joked about that on the show at the time, but I think now we can officially say that was true. Oh,
wow. Okay, so this is like AI. A spoiler.
Yeah.
The entire time I was talking to your second me.
My friend. Did you see those tweets about that friend thing in New York that like they blanketed all the subways with ads for their AI necklace you wear called Friend?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I also saw the Wired review for that, which said it was one of the worst gadgets ever made.
I saw that the app's been installed like 500 times.
Now, this is good. We're spending our collective Series A rounds very, very effectively.
Oh yeah, the money is being spent towards things that will. I don't even understand the idea of that. I watched their video from like a year and a half ago because I had not heard of it. And it's just like, I guess it's like if you had Gemini or ChatGPT like on a necklace with you at all times that you could just talk to it, but it communicates back to you through your phone in text. So you have to like speak to it and then check your phone for what it's going to say back to you. And at one point there's like a guy hanging out with his friends and he's bad at video games and he's sad about it. And then his friend AI Puck DMs him that he's bad at video games and makes fun of him. And he like smiles because he knows he's got his friend right around his neck. I don't understand like who this is for, what it's accomplishing.
Well, what it's doing is it's reinforcing the loneliness epidemic among young men in America. So
excellent.
I think it's really onto something here. How do you make men even more depressed? Well, fake friends will now tell you that you're terrible at games, not just your real ones, if you have any at all.
Well, that's what confused me about the video is that it's like, so are these people not his friends that he's hanging out with? Am I to gather from this that these are his enemies but he's just in the room with them?
No, I just think that friends don't actually like each other. That's what I mean, I'm not a Gen Z, but I do understand that is the relationship.
Are you sure you're not a
generation?
Zoomer?
I do. You can look at my hairline to prove that I'm not a Gen Z.
I guess in a way, the Friend necklace is kind of an audio product. If you think about it, it's got a microphone. I
mean, that is one way to look at it. It is a product.
Daniel, in August, which is technically still last month for another couple of days, Google demoed, or I guess I should say teased, a new smart speaker, right? Something we haven't seen from the company, and if you're not counting the Pixel tablet, which you shouldn't, I think more than basically half a decade, right? Like certainly not one without a display. When was
I think the last time they released
audio, actually?
Well, it was the Nest Hub Max in 2021.
When did the other speaker come out? The one that you could like pair two of them together. Was that 2019?
Yeah, it was the Nest Audio.
Okay. To me, that doesn't feel like it should be that long ago, but wow.
And then the Google Home Max, which if you recall had the Google name, not the Nest name, was 2017. And according to rumors, they are now returning to the Google Home name almost a decade later. So,
do you think that's a good move?
Yes, I do. I think
You don't think people care about Nest?
I don't think people care about Nest anymore because Google has completely demolished any loyalty or goodwill that the Nest brand affected.
Yeah.
Not only has the Nest Aware subscription gone up in price by $100 for some people, my renewal, and I'm Canadian, but my renewal went up to, I believe, $293 a year with tax, which is absolutely bananas for 60 days of history and 10 real-time and 10 days of real-time data. Like, this was $100 2 years ago, right? Like, sure, it's providing me a service, but Google has completely ruined the Nest brand's goodwill from my perspective. Like, there's no reason to continue beating that dead horse. So it makes sense that if you're investing in Gemini, you're investing in the Google Home ecosystem, you want the Google Home name associated with it because at least that hasn't been destroyed yet.
No, people kind of like the new app, I think. And like, so if you're trying to tie it to the app, I suppose that's, a good plan, I suppose. God, sorry. How much is your subscription now?
It's $260 plus 13% HST. So $293.
I truly think that like these companies are not prepared for the fact, especially as they push these like $20 or $200 a month AI plans that like I am at my wit's end with subscription. Like I am fully maxed out on subscriptions. I am tired of subscriptions. I'm actively trying to shed subscriptions from my monthly like bills that I have to pay because I don't think streaming services are giving me a lot of value as they continue to raise their prices. And I everything else, it's like I would rather just pay something full price than have to pay for it annually. Are you there? Are you like, is this a thing where you're like frustrated over, is this just one of many subscriptions frustrating you or?
Yeah. So I had the situation where I'm sure this is true of a lot of people. Like I canceled Spotify 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And my wife continued to tell me that she missed it because Apple Music was not good, which I disagree with. I actually think Apple Music is an objectively better streaming platform than Spotify.
They both have like, there are, because I have also switched to Apple Music and there are things about it that do frustrate the hell out of me that Spotify handled no problem. But I do think at the end of the day, I would rather deal with the minor headaches of Apple Music than go back to Spotify's just awful and getting worse by the month UI. Like it's at the end of the day, it's kind of just that. And also their algorithm kind of was no longer good for me, to be honest.
Yeah. And I felt like we could get away with it. I had an Apple One subscription that included Apple Music, but no, my wife wants Spotify. I'm a good husband. I will bring Spotify back. So that's another $10 a month or $12 a month that I pay for.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus, we got rid of a few months ago, despite my kids' protestations. They love Bluey. They love Mickey Mouse Funhouse. They love all the bad shows. Well, Bluey's great, but there are many bad shows on there. I wasn't really missing out on any of the movies or shows that, I just didn't really feel like I was getting much out of that. Again, once
you've seen Red Hulk 7 times, there's not much to get on the 8th, Did you watch that one? That one's bad.
No, I didn't. I stopped watching Marvel movies a while ago.
Bad. Yeah, you made the right call on that one. I'm sorry.
Although I made the mistake of watching Thunderbolts, and now I'm like, it's been weeks, and I still regret wasting that 2 hours.
That's how I feel about, and I'm so sorry to the listener base. I hope I don't turn anybody off by dissing Marvel. But like I was like, maybe Fantastic Four will be good, and I went and saw it in a theater, and I did not enjoy it. And I felt bamboozled in a way that I had not felt in a while. That I felt like Lucy with the football. I was Charlie Brown trying to kick, and they got me one last time. But I do think I am fully out on those movies. I don't think they need to lure me in anymore. Yeah, man, subscriptions are way too much. I'm with you. This new Disney Plus price hike they announced last week is like the last straw for Maddie and I. Like we're in the process of canceling.
Oh, it wasn't the enabling of the destruction of American democracy.
I mean, that wasn't good either, but like it was one of those. It's more of one of those things where when you like, you already have my like eyebrow raised in your way, and then suddenly you tell me that also, by the way, in addition to just being like a bad company, you're going to start paying another like $3 you're barely using. Yeah, we are, even if it's digital, just like buying stuff at this point, if it's like a movie that I think we're going to watch a bunch and it's like $5 or $6 or even like $10 digitally, that's fine. Just throw the money at it and then we own it, or we own a license for it. And we can just watch it whenever, because that's the most exhausting thing about streaming, is that it's all these services I pay for it that I still have trouble finding something to watch on. So I might as well just put the money towards something that I actually like.
The one thing that I'm hoping for is that Google inevitably puts more into Google One, right? Google One, like YouTube Premium, is a subscription that I'm happy to pay for, right? I don't want to pay for the AI
right,
improvements that are forced into the subscription, but like having additional storage for my Gmail and Google Photos, that is money well spent, in my opinion. And if Google there's rumors that the new one of the updated Nest Aware subscriptions will be put into Google Home or Google One, and that to me makes a ton of sense, right? It's the Apple move, right? It gets people spending money on a regular basis and increases their services revenue and helps them get out of the hole that they've made from advertising, the end of the internet, and the inevitable advertising apocalypse that will result from it, that nobody else will be impacted by except
I was going to say,
websites.
And then you and I are also just chilling somewhere on an island. That's what we're doing.
Google will be fine.
Yeah.
It's not.
I have no doubt Google will be fine moving forward. I think it would take a lot to knock Google down a peg or two, in my opinion, up to and including even the like court cases that have been brought brought against them, I should say.
Well, Google didn't lose the search monopoly case against the DOJ, so they're still allowed to give Apple $21+ billion a year to be the primary search engine on iPhones. And it's increasingly looking like, according to Bloomberg, that Google Gemini will be the default engine that drives the new Siri. So there will be a lot of sort of in-house models that Apple uses for on-device stuff, and anything else that's sent to the internet will be powered by Gemini, not ChatGPT, which, if that's the case, is a massive, massive win for Google. So kind of just reinforces exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah. It also makes smartphones somehow even less interesting than they already are, because it's like, I don't know. At that point, like, what is the differentiation really between an iPhone and an Android device? Like, I guess the core operating system, but what you're accomplishing on it at this point is basically the same between the two platforms. Like, I'm trying to think of what you can do on Android that you can't do on iOS. And like, the list is practically non-existent at this point. Like, there are some really, I guess, technically side loading, but who knows how that's going to be in a year or two. He says on a show called The Sideload. I don't know. I find it frustrating how small the smartphone industry can feel, despite how much money goes flowing into it every year. But that's 2025, right?
Did you hear what Xiaomi is calling its what's the thing at the top of the iPhone called?
The dynamic
island. Do you know what they're calling their dynamic island clone with Android 16? The Hyper Island. It's taking the island up to 11. Well, it's the Hyper Island. It's gonna be so good.
Man, I don't even. I'm not sure what we're doing anymore. Smart speakers. Daniel, do you think whenever this new smart speaker that we've seen teased that will run Gemini comes out, do you think you will buy one?
No, not because I don't think it will be a better assistant experience than the one that I have right now with my various Nest hubs and other Google powered speakers around my house. Side note, it's really hard to do worse than where they're at right now. And I encourage you to read Rita over at Android Authority for her takes on this, because she's talked at length about how terrible the Google Home experience has become. And I can attest to that, right? I asked my Nest Hub Max to play a song, and it's a very simple request, and it will play something completely different that will have nothing to do with what I asked. This is a normal thing now. I can't even ask it to do the very basic features that it was designed for out of the box. And that is due to Android, to Google Assistant just being like slowly strangled as they've moved to Gemini. So yes, I think they will give this speaker away for free to millions of people, as they did with Nest Minis over the years. This is going to be probably a $100 speaker. It's going to sound meaningfully worse than the previous $100 speaker that they sold with the Nest Audio, but it will be better than a Nest Hub, or even probably the Pixel tablet hub. So for that
speaker was not good.
No, it wasn't. It was terrible. Yeah. But like, it will be good for that. And then my wish and dream is that Gemini brings back the functionality that Assistant offered us and lowers the latency for Gemini requests. Because when you're dealing with an all audio interface, you cannot wait. There's no such thing as like letting it think and respond. Like, it has to be as fast as Gemini Live on your phone, or it will fail. So that magic has to be there, and like, that's table stakes. So yeah, I really hope it's a good product, but I'm more hopeful for the products that it will inevitably bring to the market that are slightly bigger and higher powered.
Removing the pitch that this might be free at some point, right? That like Google, might give it away with a pre-order for a Pixel 11 or something, right? Whatever that ends up being. What do you think the audience in general is for something like this in 2025, 2026? It's something we talked a little bit about on a different episode of a 9 to 5 podcast of Pixelated, but it's like, I do struggle a little bit to think about, like, in my opinion, this is for people who are not using Gemini on their smartphones presently, right? This is a device for people who were trained to use Assistant on smart speakers a decade ago, and now Google sees this as an easy way to train people to use Gemini using the same exact form factor, or like a very similar form factor that these buyers might be more comfortable with than their smartphone. But I'm curious for your take, Daniel. Like, do you think there is like a broad market for a smart speaker in 2025, for a new smart speaker, that is quote unquote powered by Gemini?
Yeah. So I don't think that the market for smart speakers is growing, and in terms of people wanting physical objects in their home. But I do think as a platonic ideal for this idea of like an ambient assistant that was promised all the way back in 2016 when Google Assistant, and even before that when I'm not going to say it, but Amazon's version that starts with A, and every other voice assistant that has ever been released has promised. This is the culmination of that, right? The idea that you don't have to use a hot word, you don't necessarily have to be concerned with what you ask or the way you ask it or how quickly you ask it. All of those things that have previously tripped up the semantic language assistants, but not necessarily the AI powered ones, that overhead is gone. So you have Scarlett Johansson from Her basically at your disposal whenever you want. Now you have that right now with your phone, but there's still a barrier, right? You can't necessarily access it without removing your phone from your pocket or placing it on a table. You don't want to necessarily hold it up to your mouth or look like a moron, sort of like, having a selfie conversation with your phone.
Reading the responses from your smart necklace.
Or that.
Naturally.
So this makes sense if you stick it in a corner and you just talk to it. And you've seen many examples of this over the years where Google has sort of formed an ecosystem around Gemini as an example, right? So you're wearing Gemini-powered glasses. They have a display. You may ask it for something. It communicates with the speaker. The speaker then knows you're in the room because of whatever, ultrasonic, UWB, other presence, technologies. And you basically just build out this so-called agentic layer of ambient computing. Now that is that's the Garden of Eden version. The dystopian
perfect
version
scenario.
is like you need X number of these speakers around your house, all powered by the same assistant to do anything useful. When you ask it to do something agentic, it stumbles, pushes a notification to your phone. Hey, I'm stuck at this step. We need to continue on a web page. Then you end up using your phone for the thing anyway. And then you end up scrolling Instagram for 2 hours. Like, that's the conclusion to this that I expect. But
it's also the current.
It is
like
the current
it's
one.
like exactly what you find if you try to use like a current like assistant powered smart speaker. And I'm curious about that because if and I agree with you that this is the culmination of a decade's worth of work on smart assistants. My question to you is, does Google have to pull this off the, like, out of the gate? Like with this with the first Gemini powered smart speaker, is this like an area where Google doesn't really have room for failure? This needs to be a like fully functioning product from day one.
No. And I think that's a really important,
because I think I disagree. So this is interesting. Let me hear.
I think it's a good question, but I think I'm going to say no for a different reason than you expect. So I don't think that it needs to be perfect out of the gate, because at the outset, people still want a competent assistant to do basic functions like timers and music and turn on lights, et cetera, right? Like their Nest Minis are aging out. They want better sound. They like the promise of slightly less overhead in their communications with these assistants. Even if Google makes that experience just a little bit better, and you'll probably hear the same thing from Amazon this week, because that company is also hosting an event in New York. I would say that it doesn't need to be perfect. If they can integrate the very bare bones of agentic AI into this speaker, then yes, I think it would help. Like, you want to be able to walk into a room, so you have like some presence lighting, and you want your speaker to set up that automation. So you say like, "Hey G, do all this for me," and like create this automation. Like, it should just work. I think the problem here is Google's going to overpromise and underdeliver when it comes to that idea of ambient computing, right? So the second somebody pushes it too far and it fails, that is going to bring people back to this cautionary stance of like, okay, well, I can't ask it to do the moon yet, so I'm just going to ask it to do whatever my old smart speakers were doing 5-6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. To me, it's like, okay, I've talked about this on other shows. We have one smart speaker still plugged in right now, right? There are absolutely like 4 or 5 Nest Minis somewhere in a box in the basement. The only thing plugged in is a Nest Hub Max, and the mic and camera are disabled. They've been turned off for probably like 2 years now, like, to be honest with you, because what that speaker is good at, what that smart display is good at, in my opinion, has nothing to do with Assistant, and has everything to do with the fact that it can receive cast streams from my phone, and it can play YouTube, right? You can dial up a YouTube video on it, like either from your phone or on the display itself, and it can display photos. It can be a digital photo frame. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I don't think it's good for Google that I assume many others are rolling into this product launch with fairly negative memories of both the current form of Assistant on smart speakers, but also kind of just like how that dream never took off to begin with. I would argue, like, the promise of, like, these are going to these speakers, these Assistant powered speakers are going to radically change how you shape your daily life, and, like, especially with your morning and evening routines. Like, I never found that. I found it pretty unreliable and slow and buggy, and it's only, as you said earlier, it's only grown over the last half decade as Google has shown its attention elsewhere, on a completely different successive product. I wonder if there's a lot of people like me who are maybe not opposed to the idea of this Gemini powered speaker kind of like finding a place in its home, but in my home, but want to see 6 months, 12 months of people using it before finding uses for it, and seeing how it develops before putting any money down, because I feel a little burned by the smart speakers of the 2010s. Just not in a way that I'm like fully against ever buying them again, but I'm certainly more cautious than I probably was, in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There's only two companies that have had even moderate success here, and that's Google and Amazon, right? We can recall Apple failing hard with the HomePod, right?
They'll sell you I don't even remember what it's called.
It's a HomePod Mini. And there's been
Mini. They'll sell you a HomePod Mini.
Been 2 refreshes of this product since it was announced like 5-6 years ago, but nobody I know has ever purchased a HomePod Mini. I'm sure it sounds great, it looks cute, but you don't buy it because of that. You buy it because it's
you're
smart.
shopping for a birthday gift for a relative you don't know very well.
But they did. I mean, that's the thing, right? They could only sell these in volume because it hit the $99 price point. The $299
100%.
HomePod that was honestly a really nice speaker, sounded good, just didn't sell in volume. There's also, if you recall, the Samsung Galaxy Home, which was announced in 2018 and never got released. So every company has dabbled in this space.
It's Schrödinger's smart speaker.
It just faded into existence like Bixby did, just with a cigar in its mouth, walking away, tail wagging into the sunset.
Technically not dead, but also, isn't it?
It's dead. It's very dead.
It's very dead.
I shot it behind the barn.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. So, yeah, I think Google and Amazon are both looking at 2025 as a reset for its smart home and smart speaker ambitions. If you recall, even Amazon hasn't released a standalone smart speaker in many years, right? Everything that it's released with the Echo brand has been a display over the last few years. So I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon with Alexa Plus is kind of returning to that standalone speaker space with this announcement. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, my Nest Hub Max is in the same boat. It's in my kitchen. It scrolls through photos. That's all it's good for. And
you know what? It is good at that.
It's very good at that.
I'll give it that. It's a great photo. Like, the fact that I don't like how it syncs with Google Photos means that it automatically, for us, it's pictures of our cats, and it just automatically puts new ones in there. Daniel, for you, I'm guessing it's pictures of your kids.
It's pictures of kids, general. Some dog stuff, but mostly kids. But I do want to just make one more point here. Unlike Amazon, which does have to sell hardware in volume, right, to make money. It's not making tons of money off Alexa Plus yet. It's not a services company in any meaningful way, except for Prime. But you already have Prime, right? You're not buying a smart speaker because it's discounted with Prime. I mean, you might buy it on Prime Day, but like ultimately you're buying these things for the hardware. Amazon is not going to have a ton of success selling Alexa Plus as like a premium AI subscription, in my opinion. Whereas Google doesn't care, and it's increasingly clear, and it was so clear on stage at the Qualcomm Summit this past week, because Rick Osterloh was there talking about Gemini to the CEO of Qualcomm after giving Qualcomm the shun for its Pixel phones like 5 years ago, right? So this is a company that cares dramatically more about Gemini and AI than it does about hardware. So the fact that it's coming to older speakers, it's coming to your television, it's coming to your watch, it's coming to your phone. It just happens to be coming to a $99 smart speaker that they may sell a couple 100,000 of. That's the goal here. It's not to promote the rebirth of the smart speaker ecosystem. It's just to give you one more place to shove Gemini so that if you wanted to buy you something or send you somewhere or do something that you are otherwise too lazy to pull out your phone for, it's there to do your bidding.
It's also like a mind share thing, right? Like Google wants to be the Google of AI in the way that it is for search engines, right? It doesn't want OpenAI and ChatGPT to be the service that you default to thinking of when you think about, an LLM-based chatbot, which I think it is, right? Like I do think like at the very least right now, OpenAI kind of owns that space, with Gemini being like in a close second, but like there is something that is keeping them from being like the quote unquote like default experience. I think I think that's changing as Gemini cements itself more on Android as like a in your face part of the operating system, for better and for worse. But it is helping to move that. And I think that will only continue to grow as not only do we get these new product launches where it's like Gemini is the feature, but then you have all of these devices that will, find space on store shelves and have big Gemini branding on them, in a way where you're walking past like whatever the next Google TV streamer is, and it'll have a big Gemini logo right on the box. Same with this smart speaker. You're going to see it in a way that you might not see OpenAI's logo often in big box stores. And you're going to start associating with it,
I also
more
think
so than. Yeah.
I think it's important to point out as well that going back to your question of like, does this need to be perfect out of the box?
Yeah.
And I will again say no, because Google's goal is not to have it be perfect out of the box. It's to get to market more quickly than its competitors. So if you think about,
perfect is probably too strong of a word, by the way, because I'm not even talking about like hallucinations or anything. I'm more just talking about like it fulfilling the role that Google is going to pitch to you.
Yeah.
Or later this week.
For sure. And like the goal of Gemini is to be like, what's that song? It's the one from the movie with the guy. And then it's, if you ask Google Assistant right now, it'll like play you the most random song on the planet.
Right.
But Gemini might be able to ascertain like what you're talking about, or, like, I don't know, like this is a dumb example, but like I was on a plane yesterday, and this is not even AI, but it was just like a Google feature that helped me. I took a photo of a guy's shoe that I wanted to purchase. And like, this is the capitalist, example that they always use. Like, hey, somebody's wearing a jacket you like, take the photo of the jacket and then buy it on the internet. I literally did that. I looked at I didn't know, I couldn't see the logo. I took a photo of it.
You've fallen into their trap,
zoomed in.
This is what they wanted you to do.
Google Lens, like
Google
honed in on it.
Oh.
I bought the shoe. Like it worked. It like figured me out. So I'm just very confident that like, as long as Google gets to market before I/O does with, whatever Johnny Ive,
which they will, like that device does not seem anywhere. And I've had the same thought. I really think that this is, as much as it's a play to get Gemini everywhere and it's a play for mindshare, I also truly think that this is Google's attempt at building an AI-centric device. The thing they're doing is making it not a thing that is supposed to replace your smartphone or be on you all the time like your smartphone. They are looking at this and being like, well, we already had this like template laid out for a smart speaker with an earlier version of an assistant. Like, we can just do that again and have this like early to market AI device that will, like, no matter what, I think work better than any other AI centric device we've seen. Like, this will be more responsive to you than the Humane AI pen. This will be more responsive to you than the Rabbit R1, just on sheer like reliability alone. Like, I trust Google to at the very least build a speaker that will ping Gemini properly and then give you an answer. That's where things might start to fall apart. But like, on the technical side of things, like I agree with you that I think this, you will be able to plug this in and have it work how it's supposed to work, at least in theory.
I mean, it's also worth pointing out that there are a lot of Google Home and Nest users who are iPhone users. And Gemini will never be the primary, I mean, at least for the foreseeable future, not the primary AI on an iPhone, right? You have to open Google. Yeah. There may be Gemini integration into Siri, but it will never be the primary means in which you interact with your iPhone. So releasing a $100 smart speaker that's powered by it is also just building on that need to like get into people's homes and have people say, you know, hey, Gemini or whatever, and you're inevitably going to have to say to it. And that's just smart business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird to be on the precipice of like what is essentially a new Google hardware launch and still kind of feel like this is a software like reveal. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't feel like that for the Pixel 10 though?
I did. I guess maybe that's my frustration with Google this year in general, is that it's not a very hardware centric year for them in general. Like, this is very much about Gemini and Android to a lesser extent, and then whatever they're doing on whatever plans they have for the future of Chrome OS, which I find confounding. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I hadn't considered that that the hardware team has kind of, I mean, I don't know. That's unfair. It's like, it's as we've seen in the early tease at the Pixel event for this thing. Like, it does have a new design. It's or at least a new design for smart speakers. It looks a lot like the Nest Wi-Fi, but it's a fresh take on the smart speaker design compared to what we've seen previously. So I guess I should be excited, but I don't know. I guess the other thing is that like there's only so many ways to build a speaker. Mm-hmm. So it's just tricky.
I'm also just a little I'm burned on Google's like smart home ambitions, because as we said, like Nest Hub Max, Google Audio, Google Hub Max, or what, like all the speakers have been gone for years. They've been discontinued. But then there's something that happened to me earlier this year, which is that the Nest Protect smoke detector expired. And I've had this forever. It was a great product. It worked really well. It integrated with Nest and then the Google Home app, and it expired. It doesn't work anymore. What Google is doing is telling you to buy a third-party version that supports Nest, but it's made by a company called First Alert. It's not nearly as feature-filled, so it doesn't have nearly as many of the, I would say, like quality of life touches that the Nest Protect had. And it's the same price. It's $130 US. And it's just not a good deal. And I don't like that they're pushing you to a third party with fewer features, a decade later. And this just feels like the same thing over and over again. Yes, they updated the Nest Learning Thermostat. The 4th gen is great, but that's their flagship product. Like, I'm not surprised that keeps getting refreshed. The Nest doorbell, that's getting a refresh. But like the IQ line of indoor and outdoor speakers, of cameras rather, that disappeared in favor of cheaper, lower quality Nest cameras, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you just can't trust Google to stick to its guns for more than a few years in anything, particularly hardware. And I would worry that this inevitable push into smart speakers, again, is going to fall by the wayside more quickly than it should, because...
Well, especially there's so many, to your point, Google is trying to put Gemini on everything. I think partially in a play to get attention, but also to be like, oh, like Gemini is there no matter what you're using. And also we're taking this big bet on what the future of technology is, right? So like, I think Android XR ties into this, where it's like, is Google going to care that much about the smart speaker in 2029 if smart glasses and smart display, or like a smart heads up display like really catches on? I don't know that it will. I don't know that the public has any like big interest in this type of technology, especially where it is today. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say that it does catch on, and Google has found this success in smart glasses and those associated products. Like, are they going to care to update or like to continue supporting this Nest smart speaker or this Google Home smart speaker in 4 years, when what they really want you to do is put Gemini on your face? Like, probably not. Like, I wouldn't trust Google based on their own previous track record to continue supporting it.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I feel like we've said everything we can about a product that does not exist yet and won't for another couple days. But I want to like broaden out to like the wider audio landscape and just kind of talk about what you've been using, Daniel, because I feel like it's been a weird few years for audio products. We've seen like the complete collapse of Sonos, and I would love to see where you are on that. But also just like, for as many speakers as I feel like people already own, like we've seen Bluetooth speakers, like sound bars, like all of this stuff continues to like have dozens of new product launches a year. Earbuds are like maybe even more so. Like, I would love to know what earbuds you're using. So let's start with Sonos, but I want to kind of dive into just like because when I think about you as someone who really cares about how you're listening to music, right? Like you do put a lot of time and energy and research into picking what you're going to use. And so, yeah, let's start with the Sonos stuff, but then I want to know kind of what your daily drivers are as far as audio goes.
Yeah, so I still use Sonos speakers, but I've pared them back significantly. I don't really have a network of Sonos speakers anymore the way that I used to. I've now kind of simplified my layout. I have 2 Era 300s in my office that are my primary, like ambient listening speakers, and they sound great. My largest frustration is that they are still unreliable to connect to. So through AirPlay, through the Sonos app, it will take me 2 or 3 times to just start playing anything. Yeah. Which is the problem that everybody I talk to is still experiencing, and it should have been fixed because it's been almost 18 months since.
I was going to say, I feel like you and I started talking about this in like 2023.
Well, the new app came out in May of 2024 alongside the Sonos Ace headphones, but it does feel like that has been longer.
Oh my God.
I did get a pair of like, you can see actually my standing speakers here. These are like old desktop or tower speakers that I inherited from my dad, and they're currently not hooked up to anything, but I'm planning on buying a little speaker, a little amplifier that connects wirelessly to streaming services. It's called, not WAMP, that's something else. I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's pretty well known, and it's one of those products. Oh, Weem, sorry, WIAM. So it's the Weem amp.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about because I always read it like Wii U.
It's exactly. It could be something else, but I call it Weem, and it's basically just a small box to replace your AV receiver. and you plug in the speakers into the banana ports, and you hook it up through the app. You connect your streaming services, and some of them support AirPlay, some of them support Cast, some of them support both. But suffice it to say, it just like simplifies the entire setup. You can have multiples of these throughout the house, and you can pair them together like you can with a Sonos speaker. But it's platform agnostic. The hardware is great. It uses really good DACs, really good amps, and it's not that expensive. So I'm definitely looking into that to replace the Era 300s down the road. But that's what I use for speakers right now. For headphones, I've upgraded or not even upgraded to the AirPods Pro 3. This has been a weird experience because the initial reviews were just gushing.
Glowing. Yes.
Right?
I was like, do I need to go buy these when I was reading these reviews? I was like, are these just like the earbuds to buy if I want new earbuds right now? Because that was what the initial like run of reviews read like.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Okay.
Like,
see?
No.
This is why you come to this podcast, so you can learn not to buy Apple products for your Android phone.
It's weird because the sound quality is not better than the AirPods Pro 2. It's boomier, so you can feel the bass. The sub bass is better because you have a better seal, but the actual like frequency curve is very V-shaped. It's very bright, so your treble is overpronounced. Songs don't really sound like they should, and because iOS has no meaningful EQ, you can't really change the sound when you're connected to an iPhone or Android phone. So you have to use it on a desktop in order to change the EQ, and that doesn't stick. And then I don't find them to be comfortable. Like the primary thing that I was expecting here is that it's been redesigned to make it more comfortable. But like I've tried every combination of ear tip and I just cannot get it to be comfortable the way that I could with the AirPods Pro 2, which negates some of the improvements in the ANC, because the ANC is amazing. Like when you do get a seal, and I can get a seal in both ears by holding my right ear and like keeping it there, which is obviously not a long-term solution, but the ANC is bananas good.
Yeah.
Same with transparency. It's the best in the business by far, but I'm not seeing or hearing like a market improvement over the AirPods Pro 2, which were still very good and sounded great and were super comfortable. So yeah, I'm like shocked that these are not an essential upgrade the way that I thought they would be.
Interesting. Yeah. Like you said, those initial reviews were like, I think the lowest score I saw was like a 9 out of 10. Like everybody was like, these are the earbuds to beat, basically. Like I feel like I had stopped hearing even about like or maybe by Sony. Like, I don't know. It was a lot of praise. So it's good to hear you throw a little cold water on it before I make a dumb financial decision.
Yeah, I also got the new Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 earbuds, and they're great, right? They're not a huge upgrade over the first gen, but they're superb. They sound awesome. The ANC is excellent. They're bigger, obviously, but you just get like more for your buck, I guess.
Have they fixed the connection issues on those? Because the last few, maybe not the standard Bose earbuds, but I know I had the QC2s and I had just like massive connection issues with those that were pretty well established on Reddit and on other support forums, to the point where Bose replaced them for me when I complained to them about them. And they sent me QC Ultras, and those had like a noticeable hiss, I think, in the right earbud that I could hear when listening to podcasts, which I do a lot. So it was not a usable pair of earbuds for me. Have you noticed any of those issues? No. I mean, they're solid. I've very rarely had issues with Bose products in terms of. Yeah, I might just be unlucky. I mean, the QC2s definitely had network or connection issues. Like I would have to factory reset them like once a month for the year-ish I used them before I switched away. And it was a pretty common complaint on Reddit about those. And then I know at least our former colleague Taylor Kearns ran into like a similar audio hiss issue on his QC Ultras. So like it was a thing where it was like those are known issues. I wasn't just like getting lemons, but I also am sure I was getting lemons to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with Bluetooth, is that you can never really pinpoint one problem.
Yeah. So you're saying I should switch back to wired earbuds.
Can I tell you? Yes, but no, I don't know. Just don't listen to music. That's just better.
Don't listen to music. You told me to listen to an album today.
Yeah, you didn't do it. So there you go.
I listened to half of it. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, so I do want to give you one quick story from the Snapdragon Summit that I found interesting. So you've heard over the years that Qualcomm and other companies are trying to bring Wi-Fi to headphones so that they can connect directly to the cloud and stream independently, but also just not rely on Bluetooth. And eventually you'll be able to like go between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as a handoff.
I want this so bad, but I feel like I have been hearing about it for several years now.
Yeah. So they had a prototype and it was not connected to Spotify or any other music streaming service, because of course not. It was connected to ChatGPT. So it was a demo of you talking to an agentic AI and asking it things and getting responses in your ears. And I was like, that's fine. But what I really care about is that this can technically connect independently to a Wi-Fi network. And then you just like hit it up to your APIs and then you can stream. Like the thing about the AI that would be useful is like, hey, Gemini, play X. I don't have my phone anywhere near me. It's completely independent. I can go on a run and, it'll have some storage or something. And I can just like have Apple Music downloads or Spotify downloads on my headphones. Or if I'm walking around the house, like not have to worry about it being right next to my device, or you stream in much higher quality, because that's another massive limitation of Bluetooth, right? Like, we talk about LDAC and LDAC and what's the newer one that OnePlus and stuff support?
Oh my God.
L3A
I screw it up every time.
Anyway, one of those, like they're higher bit rate, but they're not necessarily lossless. Wi-Fi will facilitate that. It will give you much higher bit rate, more consistent streaming. And it's just, it uses more battery. And like, we have to get to the point where that's not the case. So they're working on it. They didn't give us a timeline for when this is becoming a commercial product.
No,
but
I think this is like 5 years away.
It's always 5 years away.
But like, it's such a good idea because like, I don't know, even just like doing chores around the house, like I don't want to just, it's annoying to like be like, oh, I need to make sure my phone's in my pocket. Or if I go, from the basement to the second floor,
you're going to lose your signal.
I'm going to drop out. Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. I'm dying for that to become a reality, but I don't think it will become a reality anytime soon. Any other audio hardware to shout out that you've used recently?
Well, I've been listening again to the Pixel Buds Pro 2, which got a big update with adaptive sound and a bunch of other stuff this week.
You were cold on those.
I'm still pretty cold on them.
Okay.
They are super comfortable. Super comfortable. But like, I often listen to earbuds when I'm doing the dishes, and your fingers just having the tiniest drop of water means that you cannot do anything with the gestures. Like the pinch and swipe UX of basically AirPods and every other earbud these days is the correct one. Like,
I agree with you.
You just need something tactile. It doesn't need to be physical buttons, but it should be tactile. Google just doesn't. It's like they're stubborn about some things, and that's a good thing. But I think in this situation, they're just stubborn, and it's actually holding them back.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all gave Samsung grief, and rightfully so, for how much the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro look like AirPods, because they look a lot like AirPods. But I don't think that changes the fact that like having stems, and you don't need to look like AirPods to have stems. There are earbuds that have stems that don't look like AirPods to do it. It's such a nicer way to interact with like the entire control scheme of an earbud. Like I don't know. I don't think I can go. I mean, I'm going to review the Pixel Buds 2A. So I guess I shouldn't say that I will never switch to earbuds without a stem because I'm about to. But I don't know, man. Like I think that should just kind of become the default moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think maybe we get a slight design change, but like what was very clear about the Pixel Buds Pro 2 was that the smaller earbud, it meant that the microphone was just even that much further away from your mouth. The call quality is ass, and it didn't get any better over the previous generation. The sound quality didn't improve over the previous generation. So like, what else is there? They just kind of forgot about. They Tensor G5'd the Pixel Buds Pro 2 basically, and like that's fine for some people, but I'm not. No,
wait. Explain this. What do you mean by this?
Well, they just made your analogy. They made it like fun, like the sound.
Sure.
The sound profile is like fun and boomy, but
it can't game.
It can't game. It doesn't have the drivers are not good enough to EQ your way to success with these earbuds.
Yeah.
And the ANC is just like mid. Like frankly, it's not really comparable to the best out there, and they're too expensive to justify their cost, which is exactly what Google did with the Tensor G5 and the Pixel 10 series. But I think you get better value for the money with the phone, and you have just like, you don't need that speed, in my opinion. The way that like you just kind of need really good audio quality ANC and gesture control out of a pair of earbuds. And like you can go buy a pair of OnePlus Buds 3 Pro for this less than the AirPods or the Pixel Buds and like have a much better experience on Android.
Yeah. And Google takes forever to update them. So you're stuck with this pair for like probably 2 more generations.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is unfortunate because if they're already not ahead of the pack when they launched a year ago and after this update, they're only going to fall further behind. Awesome, Daniel. That's a deep dive into your audio library of products. Of course, you have a billion pairs of earbuds. I've seen your flower pot of earbud case.
The flower pot broke, I have to tell you.
Well, yeah, you overfilled it. You put too many cases in it. And it cracked. It couldn't withstand the pressure. It's made for soil, not earbuds. Did you drop it? What actually happened?
That's exactly what happened. I literally like picked it up one day and the bottom cracked and all of the earbuds fell through the bottom. I wish I had that in slow motion because it would have been the best video of all time.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can wrap up, but you really wanted to talk to me about this Geese album.
I did.
So I'm gonna hand the floor over to you to talk about.
Oh no, I didn't want it to be like some soliloquy. I wanted you to listen to it because if you've ever heard the Android Police podcast, we usually spend the last few minutes talking about like the things that we liked. And this week,
no, I want you to talk about it. I want to hear because Geese is a band that I have not gotten into yet. This is my first taste of Geese. That sounds terrible.
I had never heard of it until last week either. So this is a band that has been around for a few years. They released their first LP in 2021. So this is their third album called Getting Killed. And it is just a remarkable record. Like I don't often say this about like a traditional rock band anymore, but it's just like, because everything has been done. You don't hear much new under the sun when it comes to like the 4-piece indie rock band in 2025, but that is just not true here. Sorry, it's the fourth album, not the third album, but it's straight up a masterpiece. Like I don't say that lightly. I've been listening to this nonstop for the last few days, and I don't expect that I will stop anytime soon. It is so weird and challenging and diverse. Like none of the songs sound the same. You're going to listen to it the first time and go, what the is this? And then you're going to have to like force yourself to listen to it again. And then by the third listen, you're going to go, oh my good God, what is happening? And by that time you're addicted. Like that's the arc that I went on. The first time I was like, I'm never listening to this again. This is so bizarre. And then by the third time I was like, this is basically OK Computer, but it's not. Like, I'm not saying it's OK Computer.
Daniel, I'm so glad you said that, because I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk out of my ass about an album I have only listened to half of. However, the thing that stuck out to me is that it sounds like and not that these bands are completely dissimilar, but it sounds like if you mix the like high anxious energy of like Johnny Greenwood's like both production and guitar playing styling with like the vocal delivery of the Pixies.
Yes.
Like that is what has stuck out to me the most in listening to the first 5 or 6 songs on this 11-track album. And I mean that in like the best way. And that's not to say it's derivative of either. I wouldn't say it sounds like Radiohead or Pixies, but it just has those elements of those bands kind of, and probably other bands as well, pushed together. And I'll tell you that like I really went over by the first, like I'm excited to finish it later today because I really liked what I heard of it so far. I just didn't have time to finish it this morning because it does feel like an album that is demanding your attention in a way that many albums in the streaming era are not. But yeah, no, thank you because I have heard the hype. There's a lot of hype around this album. So I've heard the hype around this album, but I don't think I would have chased it down had you not DM'd me at 8 a.m. this morning telling me to listen to Geese.
This is our relationship, basically. You're like,
and that's fine. That's
waxing effusive on one battle after another. And then I'm like, but wait, stop thinking about this movie so you can listen to
I can't stop thinking about the movie, though, is the problem. And what makes it worse is that it's got an incredible Johnny Greenwood score attached to it. Yeah. So I already just have Johnny Greenwood on the brain because of that movie. So is that why I made that comparison? Probably.
Maybe.
It probably is.
Who knows?
You got to go see one battle after another, though, and then we'll find a space to
Can I take my kids? That's the question.
No. Underlined, bold, all caps, no.
Okay. Well, I guess it's Lilo and Stitch again for me.
Yeah, I think so. I think is there a new Hotel Transylvania in time for Halloween?
That one yes. Probably. Hotel Transylvania 7 is on my list.
Oh man, Daniel, thank you for coming on the show, for gracing me with your presence.
This has been a pleasure.
I miss doing podcasts with you. You're one of the best in the biz, and you're still doing podcasts. The Android Police podcast has resumed and is continuing forward. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we are still doing it every 2 weeks or so. It's not a regular show anymore, the way that it was when you and I were hosting it, but it's basically this cool thing is happening. We should record a show. Yeah. And that's working out great. So my new co-host, Stephen Radosh, I always mispronounce his name, Radoshia.
Radokia.
No.
Is it Radoshia?
This is wrong. I've been saying his name wrong the entire time I've known him.
You've been telling me his name wrong.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm the asshole.
All right, say it again. Get it clean.
Radoshia. Stephen Radoshia. He's such a nice person that he hasn't corrected me. But yeah, we host the show now. And there's much more bowling talk and much less movie talk, but I'm here for it.
You gotta find a way to combine them. What you need to do is get me on, and then the three of us just talk about The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski, exactly. I'm like, that's exactly the movie that I would spend the entire time talking about it with you.
Daniel, thank you. It's always fun to talk to you. And thank you, the listener, for listening or for watching. You can find me at 9 to 5. You can find Daniel. Daniel, where can people find you besides the podcast? Can people find you, or have you disappeared from the internet?
Don't really have much of a presence, though. I'm reviewing several products for How to Geek. So if you're ever in the market for an iPhone Air review that's a month and a half late, you can find me on howtogeek.com.
Is it good or great?
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Is this true? Are you giving me shit?
No, I'm not. Real? It's incredible. It's like I'm still, every time I pick this thing up, I'm like blown away.
You can't drop this when I'm wrapping up the podcast.
I'm sorry.
We
can record for another hour if you want, but it is legitimately incredible.
What's incredible about it?
It's just like
that it's thin and light.
It is. It's so good. It's so thin and light.
How's liquid glass?
It is. It's like
no, but how is liquid glass? Is that good?
Oh my God! I told you I hated it, and now I don't. I've like come around to it.
So you're just an Apple shill.
Yes.
You just see Daniel has outed himself as an Apple shill in the waning minutes of this episode.
You took this long to figure that out?
Yeah, I did. Well, it started, the clues were there when you started talking about Apple Music, and then I just followed, and now we're here. I figured out the trail. Case. Yeah, it's this is the fourth Rian Johnson whodunit mystery. This is actually coming out after Wake Up Dead Man. I don't know. I'm very tired. It's I had a long day of watching football yesterday. That's all I did.
It's a hard football. Life.
I was up very late. There was a tied game. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. 9to5google.com is where you can find whatever I'm writing. And yeah, I can tell you, actually, I know who's next. It's Ryan Haynes from Android Authority. We are going to talk about wearable tech and just kind of what Ryan uses when he goes and runs, because he's a fairly prolific runner, and I'm really excited to talk to him about the state of smart wearables, because it's a weird one out there. So that's next time. But Daniel, once again, thank you, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.